Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
Broadcasting live from Strong Island Studios in Massapequa, New York. You're listening to Man Up with Eric Holzman and Matt Wieman.
Good evening and happy Tuesday. I'm here with my beautiful co-host and birthday boy, Eric Holzman. So let's take a second and wish you happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How's it feel to be 41?
No different than it felt to be 40, that's for sure. Or 39 or 38. Some people say that when you hit 40, things start to ache, and I never had that in the past year. So I guess I'm still young.
You are.
You know.
Relatively.
Yeah, right, relatively.
I mean, neither of us are spring chickens, you know, but listen, another year is always a good one. Something to be happy
I'm closer to a winter one, but...
Wait, what?
I'm closer to a winter chicken.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So did you do anything for it?
Well, yes, today is my actual birthday. Yesterday, I celebrated with my family last night. We went to a German restaurant, and I had Jäger Schnitzel. We drank from the big boot. I had the big beer boot and passed that around the table.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Das Boot from Beer Fest?
Exactly. Exactly like Das Boot from Beer Fest. And it was fun. It was fun. You know, German restaurants are always great. I love German food, so.
Aren't the ones, though, at these restaurants, they're smaller, right? It's not like the...
Yeah, no. I have friends who have them, and they're like gargantuan
I used to have one as well. So.
Yeah. No, this one, it was about that big.
And you pounded it?
It was a nice size. I drank most of it, yes.
Most of it?
Most of it, yeah. Well, two of my brother-in-laws were there, and I wanted each person to get part of the experience. Not the kids, like, obviously the kids couldn't have it, but all the adults took a sip.
Awesome.
To celebrate. So yeah, it was fun, and today at the place I'm working at, they gave me a cake, which I didn't expect, tres leches cake.
Okay.
So,
ooh, tres leches.
Right. Yeah.
So, I like it. Is that your preferred cake, or?
I like it, and I hadn't had it in a while, and the two women who got it for me, they're both pregnant, and they gave them a shower last week when I was there. So we were talking about cake, and I just so happened to mention, I like tres leches cake, and because they're both Hispanic, so they were telling me all the other cakes like dulce de leche and all the other kind of.
I'm a strawberry shortcake guy.
My dad would have loved you.
That's super simple.
My dad loves strawberry shortcake, so you and my dad would have got along perfectly.
All right, let's not get too off topic talking about cakes, because you and I could probably do that for hours.
That's true. Look at us.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
It's always a good thing. Cake is always good.
So to start the show, we're going to be talking about Thor. We're going to be talking about the Knicks. Sprinkle in a little bit of NFL talk and even maybe some Yankees manager talk.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting, hopefully a packed show with a lot of phone calls. We've gotten 4 or 5 over the last couple of weeks, and we're just looking forward to you guys calling in, talking about whatever you want. And, you know, don't be shy. We're all about it.
Yeah, give us a call. If there's anything that we're talking about that you want to discuss, obviously give us a ring. If there's something you think of that you want to bring to our attention and maybe want our opinion, give us a ring. We always like interacting with people. So
our opinion? No. They're hearing us enough. So
exactly, that's true.
So I know last week we kind of got into Thor Ragnarok, but we didn't go deep into it because we didn't want to spoil it for anyone. But listen, it's been about 2 weeks now, and if you haven't seen it and you're a fan, shame on you.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, I don't like doing this, but either lower it and turn it up later because we're gonna be going a little bit more in depth into the film.
Yeah.
Might drop a little spoiler. I just want to give you the spoiler alert now.
Spoiler alert.
So we don't want anyone to be upset if you haven't seen the film. Definitely go see it. That's the first thing I'll tell you. I wasn't a fan of it going in, and I wound up really liking it. So
I honestly was pretty pumped in general because these movies, the comic movies, I generally I don't go into it with like, oh, it's going to be the best movie ever.
Right.
It's a comic book movie.
Right.
All right. You're going in for the entertainment factor, and if it entertains me, aside from Batman vs Superman, which was a miss because it was just all over the place and too entertaining, too disoriented and disjointed to keep track of.
Exactly, that'd be my.
Aside from that, everyone has been great. I had a little bit of an issue with this movie.
Okay.
It's not necessarily an issue, and I understand why they did it the way they did, but they combined 2 popular comic books. Okay, Planet Hulk.
Yes.
On one side.
Yes.
And then Thor Ragnarok, which is the title of the movie, on another.
Right.
And they made it into one movie, which I get because, you know, even though people have kind of ripped apart old Hulk movies. There really hasn't been a new one in the new genre, right? That's
Well, Ed Norton's Hulk, Incredible Hulk, is actually this same character.
Really?
Yes, it's the same exact Hulk that that movie showed. They just changed actors. He didn't want to do it again, or there was money issues involved. So Mark Ruffalo took over the part for obviously the two Avengers films, and now this one. But yeah, this is the same line of that movie, because at the end of that movie, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark goes in and sees, I forget what's his name, General Ross.
Oh,
right?
yep, General Ross.
To speak to General Ross.
AKA the Red Hulk. No one knows about that.
Yeah. But yeah, he goes to speak to him and talks about starting the Avengers. So it's the same continuity from that film. It's not the other one that was done by had Eric Bana in it years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Coke was really green, like super green Hulk.
Is that the one with Nick Nolte, or is that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a swing and a miss. I like that too.
A lot of people don't like it. I actually did. It was different, but it worked for me.
Okay.
So
I mean, I honestly thought the Hulk in this movie, I thought it was a completely different Hulk. You never saw one where he's this, while he's the Hulk, he has the ability to speak the way he did.
Right.
And it kind of goes back to the comic, because he changed big time, right? He changed big time when he went to Sakaar in the comic, or in the movie. If you've seen Planet Hulk, it's actually on Netflix. You can watch it right now.
Yeah.
And the one thing that actually, that's neither here nor there, the one thing that kind of pissed me off about the movie is they didn't put Scar in the movie. And for those of you who don't know who Scar is, it is Hulk's son that he creates while on this planet.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
It's
I'm
not.
pumping the brakes.
It's
Go
not
ahead.
a Hulk movie. It's really a Thor movie
I know.
featuring Hulk. So they kind of, you're right, they were kind of blending a couple stories together, and I think they honestly just had said, well, we have to do something with Hulk because he's only in the Avengers films. We need to give him a little bit more of an actual role or a big part, and he was a very big part of this film, especially towards the end. He had a very big role in the movie.
Well, I mean, you don't have to allude to it. You can talk about it now.
Yeah.
We're past that point.
Yeah, he kind of won the battle for them.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I mean, he's this. Listen, Hulk
Yeah.
is the strongest. He always says
right?
it because it's pretty much true.
But that was funny too, how they were both going at it about that.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah, the humor worked. When I was watching the previews, I was like, oh, this is gonna be just corny joke after corny joke, but it was so spaced out well in the movie that it worked. The parts that they had it, the one part where they're both in Hulk's, I guess, quarters.
Yeah, with the skull.
Yeah, that was a little much. A part of that, I'm like, all right, enough. We get it.
You know what the deal is though with his bed there?
What?
So it alludes to the comic again where he kills the beast.
Yes.
And that's the skull of the beast
Right,
for
the
his
skull,
bed
right.
to make him champion. Actually, there's a whole different. I mean, he was fighting Silver Surfer in one genre, Beta Ray Bill in the other genre. If you don't know Beta Ray, it's kind of an allusion to Thor because he's the only one that is able to wield Mjolnir, which doesn't even exist anymore. That's another part of the movie.
Yeah, but that was in the people saw that in the trailers.
That it was going to blow
We'll
up.
talk about Hela in a few minutes because I thought she was incredible.
Actually, I don't know if you noticed, but you know the tower. I think it has the Grand Master's house on top of it.
Yes.
All the faces were on it, and
Yes.
Beta Ray Bill was actually one of them.
Yes,
and then
I
there was
did
a
see
few
that.
others.
Yeah, I did notice that.
So I love
that.
the Easter eggs. I mean, I'm a nerd when it comes to that.
When it comes to that stuff, it's always awesome when they drop, because I mean these movies obviously aren't direct adaptations from the comics.
Yeah,
So when they drop those things in, it's always cool if you're used to it. You're like, oh, look at that, and you know a lot of people will be like, oh, what was that? And then you get to show your nerd knowledge and explain to them.
And then I just break it out. They're like, I thought you were
Explain to
just
them.
sports.
Yeah, you explain to them. No, I know some other stuff, other nerd stuff.
So the other thing you mentioned, Hela,
Right.
And in the comics, once again, they twisted things around here, but she's actually Loki's daughter,
Right.
in the comics.
Right. It worked better for the story to have her as Odin's daughter in this, for the way they went in the film. Kate Blanchett plays her, and I've never seen that woman in a bad role in her life.
No.
The movie might be trash that she's in, but she's always great. So she was incredible, nailed the part. I mean, she was convincing as an evil.
She's usually convincing. I mean, even in Lord of the Rings, when she played that character, I know it's not the same type of thing, but she was eerie. She's just like you said, phenomenal actress.
She really is.
Now, apparently, it's rumored that the twist where, she's a family member. His daughter, not Loki's. It was never told to Marvel apparently, and they did that on purpose. They put it where they put it in the movie on purpose because they wanted to get away from the whole Star Wars thing. I don't know if you read this article.
No, I didn't read it.
But they were talking about they knew it could possibly be compared to Star Wars universe and like the drop.
Right,
so they
right,
didn't
right,
want to put
right.
it at the end or in the middle where it took away from the actual movie.
Right.
But that's just an interesting fact.
No,
that
they tell you right away who she is. Like they
Yeah.
tell you right in the beginning. She tells you
Yep.
right in the beginning who she is. And but again, for me, as in all the Thor movies, Loki, Tom Hiddleston,
Great
tremendous. He's this role. He's known for it now. That's what people. If you say his name, that's who they think of. Right.
You say
away.
Loki, you think of Tom Hiddleston.
Right. You think of him right away.
Did you have any other issues with the movie? Because I have one more, but I'll wait to hear what you have to say.
I'm trying to think if I had any. I mean, I really didn't have a lot of issues with the film. I know a lot of people who I've spoken to had a problem with Jeff Goldblum's character.
Why? It's Jeff
I thought
Goldblum.
right, exactly.
It's freaking Jeff Goldblum. If you have a problem, get the hell out of here.
And he was great. He was great. I thought he was great. Like he added that element.
Yeah.
And he was just him, and it was just fun to see him in that role. I enjoyed it. He will have
a few more.
Yeah, and he will be involved in Infinity War.
Well, you know he's Benicio del Toro's character's brother.
Right.
The Collector.
Right.
Who's been in Guardians of the Galaxy amongst a few other.
So we
cameos.
will see him again.
Okay.
But I love that part. Maybe Tessa Thompson's accent a little bit was a little off that time.
The
for
accent?
Me.
Really? Is that what you're gonna pick? You want to know my big thing? My big thing is, and I'm not the Midgard serpent. I don't know if you. Once again, total nerd here. Thor Ragnarok. He gets killed in the comics by the Midgard serpent.
Well, they're not going to do that.
Well, no, but I mean, listen. I love Led Zeppelin, and that whole first sequence was awesome to show you how he took it out.
Right.
But it's like it made it seem like it was just like any other kind of monster and like whatever, and they just get it out of the way, kind of.
Yeah. Thing. The problem with all of these the problem with most comic book films is usually the villain. If you have a villain in the film, it's usually the weakest part of the movie, except for someone like Loki, who is incredible.
Yeah.
Those.
Do you think it's the weakest usually? Joker.
No. Well, no.
Okay,
I mean, obviously there's some standouts, but in the majority of them, I like Ultron in Age of Ultron, but a lot of people hated him.
Well, because it's James.
So I like James Spader.
Spader, yeah.
So that to me was great.
Okay.
A lot of people thought he was weak. And first Avengers, you had Loki. Iron Man, the third Iron Man, which I killed the movie for me. You had a fake Mandarin.
Yeah.
The real,
the real Mandarin's a badass.
The real Mandarin is one of the most vicious, vile villains. Let's see, I had 3 V's right there.
Vicious, violent. Oh.
in all comic book, wherever you go, and that was just terrible. I cannot watch that movie to this day.
I only watched it once. I wasn't a fan either.
I almost walked out of the theater at that part.
But overall, I like this movie. I like how it's setting up for Avengers.
Right, there is an end credits scene.
What did you think of that? Maybe you can let people know.
It kind of fit. I mean,
a little bit. It kind of tied it in a little.
Yeah.
But
the very end credits scene was hysterical.
Which one was that again?
Did you stay to the end, all the way to the end after the credits?
No, I didn't actually.
Remember there's a part in the movie where Thor first gets to Sakaar.
Yep.
And all these junk collector guys come to find him, and then Tessa Thompson's character, I keep forgetting her name in the movie.
42, right?
Yeah.
42. Collector 42 or something like that. Yeah.
She saves him pretty
Ravager,
much.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
she pretty much saves him, but there's all these weird scavenger people looking there, and at the end of the film, the Grandmaster.
Yep.
The very end credit, Jeff Goldblum comes out, and he's trying to be like, "Hey, that was a great rebellion, and I had a huge part in it."
I saw that. Yeah. And he brings them on.
right. Like it was great.
The true manipulator.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you needed someone to rebel against. So yeah, he was doing that. It was great, and
so 2 thumbs up from us.
Yeah. Again, I was surprised because I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I really did. I really enjoyed the film.
Now, there's rumors going around. I know it's your birthday. That you might potentially be the king of New York. Now, I know some other guys, they've been saying this recently.
Well, there might have been a time where I was the king of New York.
But
sometime in my life, it might have been there.
Well, Enos Kanter seems to think that, and I tend to agree with him, that Kristaps Porzingis is the king of New York.
Yes, this is, of course, is in response to the Instagram photo, I think it was Instagram, that LeBron James put today on Instagram, where he was standing at the center of the garden court, right on the Knicks
Symbol.
right, and he put the taglines like "King of New York," "Thank you," "I am glad I whatever," something like that, and I was like, really? And this, I need to say something about LeBron James.
Before you get into that,
Okay.
after Eric's, he's about to go on a rant because it's well deserved. Give us a call if you want to talk and respond to this rant.
Yes, if you guys like LeBron or don't like LeBron and want to just say, yes, I agree with you, or no, I don't, just holla at me.
And you're watching, and the number's literally right here.
Yeah, it's right on the bottom of the screen, 516-945-9099. Just give us a call. Of course, always love to hear from you. So yeah, a lot of my fellow Knicks fan friends who will talk to you, they would tell you that I usually defend LeBron because I know a lot
Same
of
here.
Knicks, I know a lot of Knicks hate him, and I don't love his game. I think he flops a lot. I think he obviously gets a
Does
ton he gets a ton of calls. But to me, he plays the game the way it really is supposed to be played.
Yes.
You know, he really doesn't force shots. He likes to pass the ball. He's a great passer. He's always played that way. So I've always respected that part of his game. But this extra stuff now, this extracurricular crap he's getting into, all of a sudden the Knicks are a problem. Now, he had that little scuffle with Phil Jackson last year.
Yeah.
He keeps bringing him up now.
The posse scuff.
Yeah,
right?
like he made and ever since then, you know, it's like open season. But Phil's gone, so what are you doing? Like, why are you keep bringing this up? And my only explanation is they're not doing well. They're not playing well this year, and he's just trying to deflect attention.
Take the heat off of them.
You know, and in a way, it's kind of a stroke of genius. But I mean, enough's enough. I'm tired of hearing him. He always complains about something. There's always something.
See, I understand him complaining, and I'm one of those people that have defended him, especially when compared to Michael Jordan. But you don't have to get into that. That'll be a whole other- We're not doing that this show.
I'll
so
tear you down on that.
We'll
one.
cut you off
Go
right
ahead,
here.
Continue.
But the thing is, I don't mind him getting involved in social issues. I actually think it's his place as the face of the NBA to do that. But yeah, this other stuff, I do think he's being a triple B, and you said triple V, he's being a baby back bitch, and I'm just gonna be honest, and that's the way I feel, and I know I'm not usually one to curse, but in all honesty, that's how I feel he's being. Especially last night, he's trying to play tough against a kid who's 19 years old.
Well, that was the whole
Ntilikina.
Right. Well, that was the whole thing that started over the weekend, where he made the comment about Dennis Smith Jr. saying that then he should have been a Knick.
Yep.
And I didn't think he was taking a shot at Ntilikina. I thought he was taking a shot at Phil Jackson, which is what he said. And I defended against people who said that. I was like, no, I really think he was just saying, you know, Dennis Smith was there for the Knicks to pick, and I think they should have taken him. That's how I took it. But then you see what happens last night, and how they get into it a little, and they're bumping each other, and I'm like, all right, maybe he was
talking to him.
Right, maybe it was about
throwing shade at him. Yes.
Right, maybe it was more about him. And you're right, the kid's 19 years old. He didn't back down, which is great.
Dude, first of all, he had 6 steals last night.
Yeah, I know.
6 steals. Go look at the NBA and see how many people this season have had 6. I don't think anyone has had 6. I could be wrong.
Right.
But either way, he did not back down.
No, he didn't.
And I know Enes Kanter has a little bit of a reputation around the league for being a tough guy, right?
Well, now he does.
Well, no, even before he came to New York, he's notorious for mouthing off. I don't know if
he's always made comments. I've never seen him get physical like he was starting to last night.
Or he wasn't in New York,
right? And we weren't privy to it. He's always made comments. Yeah, he's always had a big mouth.
I loved it. I loved him going over. I think if I have a teammate, especially if I'm a senior teammate, and I have a younger kid like Ntilikina, I call him a kid because that's essentially what he is.
Right.
I'm going to back him up. That's my buddy. That's my boy. You're not coming into our house and upstaging us.
All right.
I loved it.
They all did that from the beginning of I don't want to call it controversy. I guess the comments. Like, Kanter tweeted out, "No, we're happy with who we have." And then Porzingis said, "I don't know why LeBron said that. I wouldn't trade Frank for the world." So you have their teammates were backing him up, but when you're on the court,
and it's LeBron,
he would have gotten a little bit rattled. But this guy's 19, but he's been a professional for a couple of years in Europe.
Yeah,
so he's played against grown men before. Not scared. He doesn't get rattled. I would, like I said this before on the show. I was worried that coming here, the moment might be too big for him, but so far it hasn't. He's been incredible. I wish a few things here and there that bother me about his game, but
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's a rookie. It's not like he's coming in just perfect.
no.
And even LeBron when he came in, yeah, he scored besides Shaq, I think he has the most points scored by a rookie in the last 25 years. I think 25 to 30 years. I could be wrong.
I thought it was Melo, but
Melo?
it might be Melo.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, then I might be wrong, but I know. Regardless,
It might have been.
the point is that he didn't come in perfect, and no one will.
Well, no, like he couldn't shoot. He's still not a great shooter, obviously,
No.
but although he hit the
Well, speaking of his shooting,
he
actually,
hit the shot last night.
yeah, his foul shots alone, he's never been over 80%. That's actually one of the things he said was his goal. He's won all these awards, made All-Star teams, MVPs, won titles. Never a shot over 80%, and that's ironic because. Last week I was talking about Kristaps and being able to hit the shots to win the games.
Right.
And literally the night, I think it was against the Hornets, I could be wrong again, he came out and he sealed the game with 2 foul shots, Kristaps.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to last night,
Yeah.
and you see what I'm saying.
Well, he wasn't. He just wasn't good last.
He wasn't 7 for 21 is not a good night.
No.
But luckily, it's not a one-man show like it's been in the past.
Well, no. That's what I like. They blew a big lead, yes, and that's terrible.
23 points.
Right, it's a terrible. They couldn't defend the 3-point shot in the fourth. They really haven't been able to defend it all year, but they've been getting away with it because he's just been so incredible that he's been making up for a lot of the defensive lapses. But they couldn't defend the 3 last night. They couldn't keep LeBron out of the paint. LeBron kept creating for those open shots, and Kyle Korver went bananas. Right. That one shot he hit did you see it? He hit the rim, bounced up, and then went in. When that went in, I was kind of like, uh-oh.
It's time. Yeah, you're like...
You watch it, I'm like, uh-oh.
I know, your inner Knicks from 5 years ago.
But again, even still, as you said, with Porzingis, he had a chance to hit 2 free throws. And to 3, actually. He went to the line 4 times, I think, under 3 minutes, and he only made 1.
That's no-go.
So
that's not no bueno.
Again, it's one game. It's in November. We beat them in their place. They beat us at the Garden. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of some juice now with LeBron's comments, a little bit of a rivalry brewing between the two teams, which would be great.
By the way, Isaiah Thomas or not, I would love to see the Cavs somehow get to 1 seed and us play them in the playoffs at 8 seed, or even 7 and 2.
I'm pumping the brakes.
I'm not pumping the brakes. I told you. I think that if we keep progressing, that we're going to get there.
I hope so.
You hope so, but what's leading you from this team that you see right now? Just be completely straightforward. Mm-hmm. Nothing happened in the Knicks franchise before this, ever.
Right.
What do you think of this team this year from what you've seen? You don't think it's a playoff team?
I think it should be a playoff team. But
But you're bringing in your...
No, because they're still inconsistent on defense.
100%.
And in order to be a playoff team and a good team, you have to play defense the whole game. And especially... with the personnel that they have, because they don't have a lot of good one-on-one defensive players.
No.
They have maybe 2 in Courtney Lee and Ntilikina. They're probably their 2 best. Lee, by the way, defense has been great this year.
Yeah.
But those 2 guys, and then Porzingis is good on the weak side. Porzingis can get some block shots. He's tall.
Well, I mean, he's phenomenal.
But
he's putting a lot out there on the offensive end too.
But Cantor is not a good defensive player. No. He gives effort, but he's not good at it. So I can deal with that. Doug McDermott is not a good defensive player.
Yeah, but in the NBA today, I feel like you can make it to the playoffs without defense, especially in the East. The East, you don't need 50, 60 wins to get into the playoffs.
That's the one caveat that you can say is that the East is pretty weak. So the Knicks, if they continue at this pace, they should be able to make it in.
That's what I'm saying.
Number one, if Porzingis plays like this all year, they're definitely going to make the playoffs. I could say that. Knowing his history, you have to put that into account in here. Knowing his history, he might get nicked. He might get banged up. He might miss a few games. He's already missed 1. He has the elbow thing going on. So I don't know. Again, if all things are fine.
Were you okay with him coming out and saying that to the media, about, hey, I need a few days. I'm getting tired, kind of thing?
Well, I'm okay with it because they're doing it for all stars now. All big name players seem to be taking breaks and missing games.
Yes, for sure. Because of the schedule.
Right. So I'm okay with that. Everyone's like, well, he's only 22. Well, 22-year-olds get tired, and he's a 7'3", 22-year-old. The blood has a little bit further to pump in than it does in the rest of us. So he's longer. He's got long limbs. The blood's got to go there.
Do you think that if his foot falls asleep, that it takes longer to wake up? Oh, we have a call.
We have a caller coming in.
I think that his foot would take a long time to wake up, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is this,
Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Mitch, calling from Suffolk County.
Okay.
I'm coach over at Saratoga Hills High.
Oh, nice. What's up, Mitch? How are you?
Good, good. 2 questions coming at you tonight. Mom, I'm on the phone.
Yo, does she have the meatloaf?
Sorry about that. I'm on the phone here.
That's okay. We know you're on
I
the
got
phone.
2 questions.
Okay, go ahead. Are they relevant to the Knicks?
They are.
Awesome. Go ahead.
King of New York. LeBron or Mayor de Blasio?
Oh, Eric.
I would say Mayor de Blasio because he can actually enact policies that would affect the city.
And also, I think LeBron should never write King of New York. He's too weak-minded to have come here. He's had opportunities, so I don't want to hear him ever say that again, honestly. What do you think?
Yeah, I couldn't sleep all night. Now, my next one, I'm going to hit you with some high school sports. I'm coach over at Saratoga Hills High, like I said. Don Bosco Prep. New head coach Mike Teal in the woodworks, taking McAdoo's job over at the New York Giants. How do you feel?
What do you feel about it?
Hey, well, it couldn't do any worse,
We'll see.
right? Could
Time will
not
tell.
do any worse. Thank you for calling. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Max from Shenango Forks.
Hey, how are you, Max? What do you want to talk about?
I'm terrific. I want to play a game with you fellas. Fact or fiction? Jim Harbaugh brought back the khaki pants.
I'm going to go with fact.
Now,
Fact.
do you think after his coaching career is over, maybe the khakis will fade back into oblivion?
Well, let me ask you a question. First of all, Jim Harbaugh, relevant. Do you think he not only brought back the khaki pants, but he brought back the shirtless practices with his players?
That's a great question. I wasn't aware of the shirtless practices.
Really? You got to go check that out. I mean, not to say
Definitely
I wanted to
do.
point you in that direction. You
Right.
might be blind after it. But yeah, I mean, I do think he brought back the khaki pants and he's made it a style on the sideline, a style of his own. Coaches got to be trendsetters, just like Bill Belichick with the sweater or the sweatshirt.
Hell yeah. A little
One
bit
more
of marketing
question.
opportunity. Sure.
Who's a better coach, John or Jim?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Jim has a Super Bowl.
No,
I think
no. John has a Super Bowl.
That's what I mean. John has a Super Bowl.
John has a Super Bowl, but I think Jim, personally, I think Jim's better. I mean, in all honesty, he's brought in not only this. When he left the 49ers, they went back into the hole. Bottom line. And when he went to Michigan, right up.
College is different, but yes.
It is different, but he had success with 2 college programs.
Yeah, no, like Stanford. Yeah, Stanford.
And I think personally he's going to come back in the NFL again. I really do. I don't know when. But I'll tell you right now, I don't know if he's their type of guy, but if the Giants hired him, they couldn't go wrong. You know what I mean?
Thanks for calling, Mitch.
So that actually brings us right into our next segment, which is about the NFL, the Jets.
Yeah.
We'll get into all teams NFL. So if you have calls, I know I have a few eager Vikings fans looking to call and talk about that possible quarterback conundrum. I don't think there's one anymore.
We'll see what happens there. I don't either, but we'll see what happens.
So before we get into the actual games, I just want to give us a little bit of props. We've had a few swings and misses on our picks, but the last 2 weeks have been pretty
we've
good.
done pretty well.
I suggested Eli Manning, and I was actually going to do Sterling Shepard, but you picked him.
I did.
And then I also suggested the tight end Selleck.
Yeah, he had a huge game.
And might I add, this is the second week in a row with the tight ends that I played for under 2,500 points on DraftKings that have hit huge.
Yeah.
So trust my tight ends and trust his quarterbacks.
Trust his
and
tight ends.
receivers.
There's so many ways I could go with that, Matt.
Whoa.
I'll just leave that alone.
This is a family show.
Yeah, it's a family show. I'm not going to go there with you.
At least it's something. It's a tight end, all right? I do have a nice head. I said it. But I think we did pretty well. So listen, we do our picks
seriously.
every Sunday morning. Eric usually is the write-up guy. He does a great job at doing it. I have to give some props. I'm usually playing flag football with Serious Business or on LIFFL. I have a team as well.
Yes, I do the write-ups.
Well, you know what? You do a great job, and what can I say? But I do pick my own picks.
You do. You send me them.
And
I gotta get a little creative with the language.
So this week I created a contest, and I lost to my girl again by half a point.
Yeah, I saw that.
Half a point. We had literally, so there's fractions of points in DraftKings, and I had one, I think
she had .96 and you had .82.
yeah, so a point,
like
less than a .1, like it was, or a little bit more than .1. If my guy had one more catch or even one more yard, I win.
She knows her stuff.
She was second.
What's the problem? She knows her
There's
stuff.
no problem. No problem. No problem.
Congratulations.
So, another good fantasy play was actually in the Jets game. I know he's been getting a little more clout, a little more recognition, but Robbie Anderson actually did great. He was one of the few highlights.
It was kind of a garbagey touchdown,
I'll take it.
But it counts in fantasy, so that's what you care about. And I did say McCown, and he ended up having decent numbers for a fantasy quarterback. So, I thought that turned out to be okay. At one point there, I was like, oh God, I'm going to get killed for this one.
Yeah, he did well.
For fantasy purposes, he ended up pretty well. So,
the running game was really off. And I think it has to do with also the fact that Matt Forte wasn't playing, but only yielding 2.9 yards a carry was. And also the amount of carries. I mean, 19 is just
right.
You're not going to get anything going. Really,
that game was really hard to watch. Like I had a really tough time watching the Jets this week because neither side was doing much.
No.
So you really weren't seeing anything. And
a lot of rain. It was
sloppy. It was a sloppy game. I felt like they were just slow. I'm watching the game. I thought like both teams were just really slow. And it's when Deshaun Jackson's on the field, it's kind of hard to say that anything is slow.
Yeah.
But it really just looked like they were stuck in mud, like that they were kind of.
Well, they kind of were. I mean,
they were kind of trudging along. And
have you seen that field before when it's like raining? Like that field, Tampa Bay, it's like constantly.
Yeah,
it looks like a sponge. It really does.
I lived down there for 4 years, and I've been to that stadium.
Raymond James?
Times. Yes,
I heard it's a cool stadium.
It's a really nice stadium, but the field when it rains in Tampa, it really rains. So like it comes down.
Wow, that was a profound.
It
when
comes
it rains,
down.
it rains.
It really comes down. So yes.
But yeah, I think that affected their play on a lot of, both sides of the ball. I don't think it was a horrible game for them, even though they lost. They are coming back down to earth. It is a knife in the heart to any Jets fan that we lost to Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I was really hoping that they'd have like 4 interceptions against him. They had one right after McCown threw a pick. Fitzpatrick threw it on the very next play. So that was kind of funny too. I'm like both the quarterbacks.
We've had them both. Like, well, they're going to do the same thing.
Last year, and it's look right there is a microcosm of both their careers right there. So it was, but again, it was just really hard to watch. The defense this week, for the first time, I can honestly say,
no show.
Yeah, it was a no show. I saw no big plays from the rookies. They seem to have been making big plays all year. And, of course, it's going to happen. It happens to all teams. But I expect more from the guys who get paid, like Wilkerson, like, Leonard Williams. And he did have a sack. But I just expect more from those guys. And
to step their game up.
Yeah. When your team, when you have a young team, and most of the Jets, rest of the team, Claiborne didn't play much. So
no, but it was his first game back.
They were really young. They're really young. And the veteran guys, the only guy who seems to play hard every week, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is DeMario Davis.
Yeah, but he's a different person because he realizes he can go to Cleveland, So he's like, all right,
That's true.
This time I'm going to really go crazy.
When you go to Cleveland, that probably changes everything.
He was like, wow, I thought Arkansas State was bad. Like, no, he went to Cleveland. He's like, I'm never going back here again.
Yeah, sorry, Cleveland.
Now, I agree with you with the big name guys, but I think it also has to do with the fact that they were tired. These are all young guys, majority of them, and the bye week's this week, so it kind of helps them out.
Right, and they had 10 days off.
Yeah.
From the Buffalo game, and a lot of times they're like, oh, you can rest up, but maybe that's too long.
It's a lull. You get in a lull.
Right. You become creatures of habit, and your body gets used to that, and when you add a couple things to that, a couple days that you're not used to having, maybe that threw them off, and they just weren't really ready.
And you know what? We kind of talked about it, the opposite side last week, and I'm not trying to go off topic, but Thursday Night Football and the gap, right?
Yeah.
And it's becoming a really interesting topic now because they're talking about potentially it being the way that the owners get these 18-game seasons because they can coordinate the bye weeks around and there's more flexibility. So they're thinking, hey, you know what, let's have 2 bye teams play on Thursday so they have appropriate rest, and then guys like Sherman aren't blowing out their ACL because they're only going on 3 days rest. I know it's kind of a pipe dream, and I don't think the players are going to really want to do that.
It's such a brutal game to play, and adding 2 more. The good thing about preseason game, it sucks as fans.
Yeah, it does.
But as players, the starters know, well, we're only playing this much time and we get to rest.
Yeah.
Right? Except for the third game where they play into the third quarter pretty much. But it's preseason is really for the younger guys and the undrafted free agents
Yeah,
and
of
those
course.
guys to see who's going to make the team.
The
So
Victor Cruzes or people, or Robbie Anderson actually,
right,
is
or
like
Robbie
that as
Anderson,
well.
guys like that. So your veterans don't mind, don't mind preseason games. They're like, okay, fine, preseason is great. Us as fans are like, we have to pay to watch bad football, and you don't want to do that. So
No.
you have that struggle there. I personally don't think we're ever going to get 18 games. That's my opinion. I've said it since they first put it out there. I don't think that's ever going to happen, and I don't think it should.
I mean, I'm not against it if they're going to cut the preseason games like you said, because I still think it's going to be effective enough for the young guys to make their mark, because the starters are just not going to play, pretty much. It's more like a dress rehearsal. They suit up. They have their nice clean uniform on for the first time in a while, and that's about it.
I mean, we weren't going to go into this, but because they changed so many rules regarding practices and stuff that if they do cut the preseason games down and they say, okay, week 1 now is not September, the first weekend's in September, but it's the second to last weekend in August, like you're saying that, or if they add it to the end of the year, I don't know how they would do it.
I like the
Maybe
end.
1 and 1.
Yeah.
Maybe. But you're not going to have enough practice time, enough practice
to
games.
evaluate, you're saying?
Right. Because preseason games now pretty much take the place of the practice and the scrimmages that they used to have when they could have 2-a-days and sometimes 3-a-day practices. You can't do that anymore.
And my buddy just corrected me. Sherman hurt his Achilles. So
what did you
I
say?
said ACL.
Oh,
so
yes, it was his Achilles.
Gotta give him props.
I'm sorry, I missed that. So
and he's listening all the way from California. So
right.
we're going coast to coast tonight.
Right.
Thanks to Marquise.
Yeah.
So you're saying you don't want to pay to watch bad teams, or people don't want to pay to watch bad teams, but you know what? People pay every Sunday to go see the Giants.
Uh-oh. Those
said
are fighting words right there.
And I did pick Eli this week because I thought he had a good matchup.
He did have a good matchup.
Hey, they're playing a non-win, winless San Fran team, and they come in and they lay an egg, and C.J. Beathard looks like the reincarnation of freaking Wyatt Tittle. Like, I don't even know. Dude, I mean, honestly, Kyle Shanahan, I'm happy for him. I don't know if you saw the celebration. It looked like they won the Super Bowl in the locker room.
I didn't see it, but that's good.
So good, props to him for getting his first, win under his belt. And Ben McAdoo, man. I'm not a Giants fan, but I feel your pain. I honestly think, he's part of the problem. I don't think he's the whole problem. I think Jerry Reese is to blame, and he's not getting that because Ben McAdoo is dealing with his years and years of drafting that he blew it, basically, Jerry Reese. But at the end of the year, I think you cleared house.
Well, yeah. Well, as Jets fans, we know coaching searches.
We know house cleanings, too.
Yeah, we know house cleaning. So we have a lot of Giant fans. You could ask us questions about this one because we've been through it many times. But I mentioned Ray Handley last time. I know you don't remember him. You were a little young. And
you're bringing him up again? I still didn't do my research over the weekend.
But this reminds me of that era of Giant football. He was the first coach after Bill Parcells, handpicked, kind of like we had here with Coughlin and McAdoo. And
I'm going to call him Wackadoo from now on because he's wacky. His hair is wacky.
The crazy thing about it is, in his post-game press conferences, he's like, rah, rah, rah. And then
is that what he said? What is it? Rah, rah, rah,
yeah, like, rah, rah, like, it was their fault. The players did, and he's throwing the players under the bus.
No.
So yes,
only the kicker this week. I listened to it 2 times. Only the kicker, because you know what? He knows he's going to get it back. Sorry, go ahead.
But then like the next day, he's almost like, I never said that. He doesn't say that, but that's
like, well, what about this?
That's kind of the vibe he gives across. Like, I never said that. Like, no, what do you mean?
Doesn't he realize he's in New York?
I don't know.
New York is like that girlfriend or your wife. Sorry, or a wife that remembers literally everything, and we'll bring it back and we'll throw it right at you. You're not winning that argument, all right?
That's true, but you're about to start an argument with a lot of women because you just blame them for bringing up.
Listen,
see that ladies, that wasn't me, that was him.
I wasn't blaming. Well, first of all, I'm actually giving you a compliment because you have such great memories. That's it.
No, you cannot, dude. Just throw the shovel away because you don't want to dig any deeper.
Whatever. I'm going to say what I got to say. Everyone who knows me knows that's the case.
No, I didn't say you were wrong. I just said I didn't say it.
So you have a note on here, a little note. Landon Collins, on him specifically. I want to know what your thoughts are on him.
Well, last year, incredible, right? Pro Bowler. Some people said Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
You had all this. This year, I've watched him, and I don't know if it's because the rest of the secondary is struggling, and he's trying to make up for them. But he looks out of place a lot of times. I don't think his recognition has been as good. I don't know. Again, the whole team is bad, so it's really hard to pinpoint. But you expect, again, like I was talking about with the Jets, you expect the big name guys to play big, and to me, he hasn't been the same player.
Well, I think you hinted on it. I mean, the fact that the secondary isn't whole,
Right.
really affects the way the safety
Well, yeah.
plays. A safety, this is not rocket science. A safety affects the corner. Also, the pass rush affects the secondary. You're not getting the pass rush because Olivier Vernon's been hurt. Snacks Harrison got hurt this weekend.
Right.
So the quarterback's having more time to pick them apart. Landon Collins is never a good cover safety. He was never good in college. He's not known for coverage.
No, he's a hitter. He's been known
He's
as
like a
hitter.
Cam Chancellor type where he's going to make you pay for it. In order for him to do that, the corners need to be there. So when you had Eli Apple as your third corner last year, and you had DRC and then Jackrabbit on all at the same time, coupled with the line, he's going to be able to play a little more free, take a little more leniency in his actual responsibilities, and go and make those big plays. Now this year, it looks like, first of all, he's overthinking because of all those.
No, it's like I said, that's possible.
And secondly, he's not going to make those plays because he has to stay in those zones. And he's going to get beat because he, like I said, he's not a great cover person.
Right.
So, I mean, that's what I feel is going on, and that's why C.J. Beathard looks like John Elway or
Seriously,
Wyatt
he was running for touchdowns. He was throwing touchdowns. I'm like, look at this guy.
Did you hear what Selleck said? No,
I didn't hear.
He threw a great 47-yard Beathard threw to him, and it was a cross, and he just took it to the house. He said after the game, he's like, I knew I was a steal in daily fantasy, and he's like, I felt like those people needed me to pay off. I'm dead serious. He acknowledged it. He's like, I never start. I knew I was a steal. I'm going for it.
Maurice Jones-Drew used to do that all the time, too.
Yeah, but he
always used to mention some fantasy stuff.
100%. He actually is on.
He played.
I don't know one of the networks he's on.
He got fat, man. I mean, he was always kind of big, but now he just looks.
Well, dude, he's all muscle. He
I
probably
don't think
did,
he's muscle anymore.
I'm not making any claims here, but he probably did steroids. He was
Maybe.
5'9", jacked out of his brain.
Yeah, he was.
And like phenomenal.
I loved watching him run, man. He was.
He won me two fantasy championships. I got him in the last round. He was awesome.
Everything,
dude, it's gonna always go back.
Everything goes back to fantasy.
It's gonna. But I mean, listen, I love regular football, so it's gonna go back. At least I'm not talking about Madden this week like I was last time, which he was phenomenal in Madden as well.
Okay. Enough. Moving on.
The Giants, I thought they were going to get a win here, and
I think we all did.
Yeah, I was so surprised that they did not, that they looked as shitty as they did. I mean, I'm just throwing S's and B's out here today, but you know what the thing is? I was super surprised. I thought they're the type of team that usually would come back and, unlike the Jets, would hit big when they're getting talked about in the media.
Right.
And none of that happened.
Well, they did that against Denver. Like that game, the game they won against Denver, they kind of did that.
Yeah,
they were
exactly.
Then, and no one expected them to win, and then they come out and they played great against Denver, and they won that game. So against a team that's worse, clearly the 49ers are worse than Denver, especially on defense, you would think that they'd be able to win, and no, that's a clear sign that something else is going on.
Yeah.
There. And we had the backbiting last week, you had the fighting in the media.
The backbiting? What was
Yeah,
it?
you know.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
You had all that stuff with the media last week about, the anonymous players speaking and not putting their names on things.
Well, one guy came out and he
saying,
manned up.
I think it was Josina Anderson, right?
You're right.
She gets all the
People aren't going to start giving her it now, though. I heard that there was a big deal
Yeah.
because she wasn't supposed to say that even if it was anonymous. That's what I heard.
Oh, well.
So, you got to make sure that your sources want you to say what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that organization is not in a good place right now, and it's really weird to say that because it's very rare you say that about the Giants
Or the Steelers or something like that.
But they are not in a good place right now, and you're right. I think at the end of the year they might just clean house. Reese and
they might clear house on the player side too.
Just go.
I know.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make some cuts.
One of my buddies said Eli Manning could go for a second right now. I said, are you on drugs? I said, are you serious? I don't think he's going to go for a fourth because of first of all, his contract and his performance. He was like, the Jaguars will trade for it. They're like, Sheldon Richardson went for a second. I was like, no, you're crazy, man.
Well, Sheldon Richardson's young.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, in football, that's really the value of a draft pick is your age.
Yeah.
For example, we got Matt Forte for what, a 4th round pick?
Yeah, it was like nothing.
Right. But if he was still 25, it would have been a second or maybe even a first, right?
Yeah.
So age is the big deal when it comes to football trades, when it comes to draft picks, always.
I think they have no shot this week. And I think Hunt is going to go for probably 200-plus yards.
And they have the entire New York spotlight because the Jets are on a bye.
That is it. Now it could be
So-
one of those miracle games where they
Right,
turn it
like we
around.
just talked about, right.
Exactly, and they right the ship. But the thing is, when you're playing a coach like Andy Reid, and then you have a quarterback as smart as Alex Smith that does not turn the ball over,
No, he doesn't.
you're going to have problems, especially if Justin Houston is healthy, because good luck. The floodgates are open. There's no one on that team that's going to block Justin Houston.
No, and I mean.
And they also have D Ford. They have a lot of. It's not just him. So.
No, and on offense. I mean, Hill on offense.
And Peters will probably shut down
And
Shepard.
Kelsey. They're.
Yeah.
I keep telling everyone they're a very good team.
Kelsey's going to go off this
I
week.
like the Chiefs a lot. It's Andy Reid though, because so you're always like, something bad's gonna happen in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well,
But-
it's not there yet, you know?
No, but I just like Andy Reid teams. I like the Eagles. I've always been a semi-Eagles fan, so I like the Eagles. And every year with Donovan McNabb, they'd get into the playoffs, and then, when they had Terrell Owens, obviously that's when they made their run. But every
was
year
crazy.
with them, he would take them, and then be a great team, and they get to playoffs, and
Yeah. No,
so
I agree.
with Reid teams, I'm always like, let's wait to see what happens.
The
They're
Chiefs-
always good in the regular season.
The Chiefs, it's kind of like the Steelers, right? And again, I think this is part of Tom Brady's deal with the devil, that all the other teams residually get hurt when the playoffs
Yeah,
start.
yeah, right.
But with the Chiefs and Steelers, it's been injuries the last few years. Think
Yeah.
about it. I mean, Brown, I think 1 year Bell was out,
Right.
and then the Chiefs have had a few big ones as well. But now, the unique part, I know they did have Jamal Charles, and he was great for a few years, but he's not the same type of running back as Hunt is. Hunt, you can give the ball to, he's not a huge guy, but you can give the ball to him 25 plus times,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can lean on him.
The way he runs very low to the ground, and that's, he's not huge, but he's big enough. You can run him between, you can run him outside. He's the real deal. I love that guy.
So who do you think wins? I mean, this
No,
game this week.
I'm definitely saying the Chiefs are going to win that game.
By double digits or close one?
Well, San Francisco won by 10, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and week to week, you can never say in the NFL. Anything could happen. But on paper, I would say it might be a 14-point, 2-touchdown win.
Tyreek on fleek. I don't think they're going to handle him on the special teams end, or DeAnthony Thomas. They're both lightning quick. And
Yeah.
punt return and kick returns, I can almost bet, I will bet $10 right now that they're going to score some sort of special teams, whether it be a pick six or a punt or a kick return.
Anyone wants to take that bet,
$10. You call in right now?
Call in right now.
I got Venmo. It's $10.
right, you Venmo it, and
Whatever you want.
that.
I'll take that bet any day. So I feel like the rest of the NFL, it's kind of the same as it was last week. There's not anything crazy that happened this weekend, in my
Nah.
mind at least.
did we have any crazy injuries this week? I don't.
Besides the Sherman one on Thursday.
Yeah, that's it.
There's always injuries.
Right, there's always
Uh,
injuries, but big name. It seems this year so many big name guys.
I know. I
Right?
know. It's unfortunate. Harrison's the only big one that
Yeah,
really got hurt.
half one of my fantasy teams, but my first two
Yep.
my first two picks. Well, like one was a keeper, Beckham,
Mm-hmm.
out, and then I picked Aaron Rodgers in the first round, out. So my first and second round
Back-to-back
pick, pretty
weeks.
much. Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I'm done with fantasy
pretty
for
much
life.
this year. I'm just like put a fork in me. I'm done. But ironically enough, I'm 5-5. I've kind of hung on. So
Yeah, well, listen, I share the sentiment. I think it's going to be double digits, 2 touchdowns.
Right.
So something interesting actually happened today. Now, we're doing this show for one specific reason, and the only reason it exists is because of Mike and the Mad Dog.
Yes.
And Michael Francesa.
yes.
And as we know, for about a year now, they were going to replace him.
Well, he was getting retired. He wants to retire.
Yeah, he wants to, he'll be on there occasionally, whatever it is. But they actually announced his replacements today.
They
finally.
did, and I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised with who they chose. When you know all the other people who could do the job and
Yeah.
have done the job similarly before, these three people kind of shocked me. It was Chris Carlin, who he used to be on FAN a lot.
He is on sometimes occasionally,
Yeah,
yep.
SNY, right?
Yep.
He did Loudmouths.
Yep.
Bart Scott, the former Jet
Can't wait.
linebacker, right?
Which is weird
then-
because sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's weird because this weekend Bart Scott was on 98.7 ESPN, literally Sunday, and then Tuesday they announced it, and that's it. And now
Yeah.
he's not there anymore. He switches.
Well, he
split,
obviously was a freelancer. Like he didn't have any
which most people on
affiliate-
ESPN are.
right.
Yeah.
So he didn't have any contractual obligation.
But they have that bet. Do you know the Bart Scott Chris Canty bet with the cars?
Yes.
So I'm wondering how that's going to play out because they bet a Bentley and like a Maserati or something.
Well, this is not going to happen until end of the year, right?
yeah, until December. I think December 17th. They said was the
so
last show.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
The season will be pretty much over then.
Yeah. So, and the other person was Maggie Gray.
Maggie Gray, who is a CBS national radio host. I'm not really familiar with the work that she's done, but I've heard her name and I know she's on CBS Sports Network, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a little surprising. Like you would think maybe someone like Brandon Tierney or
They had BT on there before. I don't think that he was going to be the person to, take over. I think that he actually got, if you remember, he had his own show in New York from I think it was 12 to 2.
No, I used to listen to it.
Yeah, and then something. Apparently he's I'm not going to talk negative about Brandon Tierney because I actually like him a lot, but apparently he's a big spitfire and he kind of rubs people the wrong way.
Well, yeah,
so.
that's how he got the position he got. So
yeah.
He's got to be himself, and that's one of the things you love about it. And I mean, we know that you have to be yourself.
Bart Scott certainly is. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
I'm interested to see the dynamic. I mean, I don't know Maggie Gray, and people probably don't know her that well here in New York because we have the Fan, and that supplants CBS Radio.
Yes.
So that's probably, but she's actually on nationally, like you said, and it should be interesting. I used to love Francesa back in the day, but now I feel like he doesn't prepare as much. He's kind of long in the tooth, and he spent an hour talking about horse racing today. No offense, I love horse racing, but it's not like something I'm gonna be like.
He's always done it though.
I know.
Not new.
But it's like, why are you doing it now on the afternoon drive? It makes no sense.
Well, that always was my thing with him and Russo, and they were great together. And ever since Russo left, the show hasn't been the same. But they would talk about baseball constantly. And yes, New York is a baseball town. It always has been a baseball town. But you'd be in like the throes of the NFL season, and
I know
they're talking about winter baseball, and even when the Yankees weren't good, I got to the point where I'm like, I can't listen to this anymore. I want all the sports to be mentioned. So
yeah, I feel like but it has to do with timing, right? And like we're gonna be doing the show when football's done, and we're not gonna. We're gonna always talk about football, so I guess that's the wrong sport to talk about. But I get you.
Like the season ends, then you have free agency, and then free agency ends, and you have the draft, and then it's like that in all sports, But when a season is in play, that should be your focus. I've always thought that should be your focus. Like right now, we're doing basketball and football.
For sure.
I would do hockey a little more, but you're not a hockey fan, so I don't want to go there.
I have a lot of listeners. We have a lot of. I only do. No, we have a lot of listeners, female, male, that actually love hockey. One of my friends actually is getting married on Friday. She's Kristen Dello. Giving her a shout out. She's a big Islanders fan. Congrats. Eric would appreciate you calling in once. But I don't mind talking about hockey, but I get it. And that's the reason I don't really listen to him as much anymore. So I'm glad he's hitting the old dusty trail.
Yeah, he's a legend in the business. Everyone knows him. You're like you said, him and Dog are the reason why people do what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So
hey, listen.
Yeah, props to him and good luck to Carlin, Gray, and Scott. I hope they do well.
I think it's going to be within 6 months. It's done.
Really?
I really don't think.
Give him a chance, man.
No, I know, but I don't think the show's done necessarily. I just feel like the slot, they're going to see the ratings dip hard.
Well, yeah, okay.
Listen, you're going to have a super reactive CBS. CBS owns, them now, so the Fan.
Yes.
It was never like that 5-6 years ago, all right? Now you have the big brother looking, and they're going to make changes off of that.
Heck yes.
And listen, they've already had issues with Craig Carton, and that whole thing's going on, and we'll probably touch base in a few weeks on that because they just had the pre-trial for it, right?
Yeah, that's true. We'll talk about that. We'll have to talk about that.
But either way, it's time for the torch to be passed, I think. And listen, it might be great. I might love the show, but right now I'm tuning into ESPN, like radio.
Yeah, that's
my jam.
Where I listen to pretty much too. The Manning Peter Rosenberg, I listened to him on Hot 97 in the morning. I used to, so that was a welcome addition for me. I love Don LaGreca.
I love Don LaGreca.
Right? So
I could see me being Don LaGreca. I've gotten Rothenberg. People are like, "Oh, you look and you sound like Rothenberg."
Well, the beard.
The beard, I guess.
Don has a white beard, but Dave
and the shapeliness of it.
Yeah, the shapeliness. Well, Don's a big guy too, so.
Yeah. So we really only have like a minute left, and listen, if anyone,
yeah, we were gonna get into some Yankees manager stuff this week, but we'll hit on that next week because obviously it's gonna be a an ongoing thing probably through the winter. I don't think they're going to name a manager tomorrow.
They might, and then
And right, I just said that, and tomorrow we're going to wake up.
And the choices we have are like, I think it's Rob Thompson, Eric Wedge, and Aaron Boone, and then A-Rod sprinkled in there, but I don't really think that's a serious candidate, to be honest.
And then the Beltran thing came up, and
He just retired. He's
yeah,
gonna...
they mentioned he said he'd like to manage, and they asked Cashman, and Cashman was kind of like, we'll see. So it'll be interesting. That's something that's definitely going to follow on, which is the crazy thing is it's the only open job in baseball.
And it's the best.
Right. It's the best job.
We appreciate you guys joining us. Please like and share our page here on Facebook, as well as share the Strong Island Radio and TV page on YouTube.
As always, if you want to hit us up, you can hit us up on Twitter on @theManUpShow. You can hit me up, or hit us up, actually, sorry, at our email address if you have anything you want to send us, hate mail, anything. It's manup3374@gmail.com.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Catch you next week. Peace.